Ladies and gentlemen, as promised, as we delivered, he is the Creative Pro Television Champion, among a plethora of other championships that he holds. July 30th, this Sunday, he's going to face off in a tag team match, tagging with Dr. Cool to take on Birds of the Sun at Creative Pros Beyond Boundaries, Knights of the Columbus in Linwood, New York. Ladies, gentlemen, it is the GOATest. It's Bobby Orlando. How you doing, Bobby?
Do I still have to do the thumbs up or no?
Yo, keep him up.
You do whatever you want, Bobby.
Oh, I am here. I am outside. I don't have as professional as a studio as you guys, but it's a beautiful morning here on this Wednesday.
Yes, allegedly.
Allegedly Wednesday. It's a great day to be alive and to be on this show with you, with my friends.
We're happy you are here. How is Bobby Jr. doing?
He's here.
There we go.
He's here. He's enjoying the sun. Not too much sun. We don't want to overdo it, but he's getting a good tan.
We're happy Bobby Jr. is here because rough moments earlier this year. Jerk Kevin Blackwood stealing him, having to battle him. Didn't like any of that. We
made up in the end. Kevin Blackwood, he's a vegan. All he wanted to do was make sure he was safe. It was a first time matchup. We've never really, stepped toe to toe in the ring before. He didn't know my intentions. I didn't know his. And at the end, we made up. And now we are both friends. Me a little more, but we're both friends with Bobby Jr.
Good to hear. Bobby, talk to us about Creative Pro Wrestling. A lot of top talent have come out of there. Yeah, there we go. A lot of top talent like Max Caster, who's part of the Shook crew as well. Obviously, MJF, Brian Myers, one of the trainers there. Pat Buck, one of the trainers there. I know I'm forgetting a bunch of names, so you put me on the spot with the numbers here.
There's a bunch. Chris Statlander.
There you go. Chris Statlander
Bronson,
as well.
Boulder.
There you go. So
Smart Mark.
Pro.
A lot of people.
Creative Pro, they do create professional wrestlers. Yes, they do create professional wrestlers. Tell us about training there and working with all those talents.
So I've been training there for now about 6 years, 6.5. Well, there's a crazy bird in the background. I've been training there, based out of Hicksville, Long Island, New York. So for anyone watching who's in the area, even if you're 2-3 hours away, I did a 2-hour commute there for about 3 years at one point. Definitely worth it. I know it's super biased, but definitely one of the top schools in the Northeast, if not in the country. There's a bunch of great other places in the area, but for me, I am very happy with the decision I made, and I really don't think I'd be the person or the wrestler I am today without them. Head trainers, Brian Myers, Pat Buck, but definitely, I was under the learning tree of other people there too, because once you kind of graduate, the more veteran students, they take you under their wing and they teach you too. Like Max Caster, I owe a lot of credit to with training me in the beginning. VSK is another one. So there's just, everyone there. If you put in the work, you'll get out so much more than you could ever dream of.
It seems like a family. It seems like a family as well, just because Max Caster still comes back to Beyond to team with everybody. MJF was back at Creative Pro just a couple months ago doing a match.
Taking on Leo Sparrow, who I will be taking on this Sunday.
There we go. Oh, it seems like you guys are just very tight, and everybody just remembers where they came from on that. I imagine that bond is pretty strong.
Definitely strong. I mean, in wrestling in general, even people who didn't train at Creative Pro, it's still it's still wrestling is like a family. It's one of the hardest things anyone could ever put their bodies through, their mind through. And it's kind of you're all connected and bonded over this passion you have. But definitely Creative Pro is more than just a school to me. It's a family. Yeah, I can go on and I don't want to take up too much time, but I can definitely go on and on about how much I just love Creative Pro and how much Creative Pro has done for my life. Hands down, the best decision, not just in wrestling, but the best decision I've ever made in my life.
So take me back to your first days at Creative Pro. This was obviously a big change for you and a big opportunity for you. What was it like? And what were the moments that kind of stand out to you from your beginnings there?
Definitely the nerves were high. I don't really get that nervous. I'm pretty, I got some good self-esteem. I'm pretty confident in my abilities, but definitely nerve-wracking. It's a big change in your life. It's something I've always dreamed of doing because most wrestlers nowadays, they've been wanting to do it their whole life. So it's definitely something I've been thinking about for a long, long time, ever since I became a fan of wrestling. So it was more or less going into the first day of training thinking, okay, I'm either going to find out today if this is for me or if it's not for me. And that was the scariest part, was because if it wasn't going to be for me, I don't know what else I probably would be doing right now in my life. So I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And I fell in love with it. It wasn't like, there's some people that walk into Creative Pro and it's like first day, it's like, oh my God, this person's going to be like a superstar. I walked in, I was like, okay, this is like something I could probably do. And over time, if you just keep putting the work in, hard work never goes unnoticed. And repetition is key. If you go to train, you need to go, I suggest, at least 3 days a week for at least a year straight. I know it's a lot of wear and tear in your body, but if you don't give up, you're going to see results. And that's what a lot of people who put in the work do. And that's what I did. So it's kind of like mental preparation. So the first couple of weeks of training was definitely, okay, don't quit, keep pushing forward. It's going to get hard, but the good times outweigh the bad. That's what I could say.
Talk to me about television wrestling. You've been on AEW TV before. You've been on Rampage and then the Dark and Dark Elevation, everything. I imagine those opportunities came up through Pat Buck and through Creative Pro and everything. But just television wrestling in general, because to me, you're made for television. Like you have all of that down. Like I think you should be on TV every week, and you're on like Beyond every week, which I think is a very underrated television show on IWTV. But just the differences between just a kind of quote unquote random indie match and then kind of more of television wrestling.
So like, what's like the difference between the two?
Yeah.
There's a lot more people, but more or less, it's pretty much the same. It's like the whole goal is to, the matches, the intention going in is what you're trying to do on the indies versus television. Go out there and have, the best performance you can, try and walk out with a dub. But at the same time, definitely a lot more pressure when it comes to the fact that it's like, okay, there's definitely a lot more people watching this. But before those matches, I kind of had to like let those go outside my mind and just be like, okay, you know what you're doing. You've had 500 whatever plus matches. Like, why is this going to be different? I mean, it's a lot different, but that was the mentality I went going into it. Like, okay, you know what you're doing. You're a wrestler. You've wrestled matches. Just have a wrestling match. And that's what it is at the end of the day, but with more cameras and more people watching. So once you just eliminate the fact that there's that pressure, it's like the back of your hand or whatever you call it. I don't know. Analogies, whatever.
You've been the Creative Pro TV champion now. You're the third longest reigning. You've got over.
There's a mosquito on me.
No, I thought you were going to pat yourself on the back. I thought we were doing.
No, well, I'll do that too.
You've held that title for almost. We're getting on close to a year now. First of all, how's it feel? Because you're third longest. If you get to a year, then you're going to be second longest. And on top,
I did not know those statistics.
Yeah, the only person that you're Eric James, who was the second champion, held for 357. Slade held it for 422. You're at 312. This is all cage match. So as of right now, you're sitting in third. Let's say you keep building. Let's get to that number one. But how does it feel? You're that TV champion. There's obviously a trust in there, and also pinpoint some of your favorite defenses of that TV title.
Can I start with that the defenses part?
Of course. Start wherever you want.
Not only one of my favorite defenses, probably my favorite match of all time. I recommend anyone check it out. It was probably one of the most proudest matches I'll probably ever have for a long time. I'm not saying of all time, but for a long time, this will be at the top. It was myself versus Aaron Rourke in an I Quit match. My first ever I Quit match. One of, if not the most violent matches I've ever been a part of. It was at Creative Pro's Oh Baby event. I know, what a violent match for such a violent show name, but Heath Slater was on the card, so it was very apropos. But it was Creative Pro from this past year, or this year technically, February of 2023. It was Oh Baby. It was myself and Aaron Rourke. We went about 20 minutes in the main event, in one of the most hard hitting. We've wrestled a million times, so we knew we were going to create something special, but I think coming out of it, we didn't realize how intense and how magical it was going to be. But it really was one of the things, like one of those moments where I was like, all right, you know, this is why I'm the champion. This is why I do what I do. And I can't say any bad things about that match. That's one of my favorite matches of all time. But one of my favorite parts of being the Cap TV champion is because Cap TV is something that the Creative Pro Wrestling Academy kind of created for the YouTube channel, especially kind of like our little like mini series, because we can't do shows every week. So it was something we created for the YouTube channel to put out episodes every Monday. And I was kind of a big part of starting that in the beginning about like 4 or 5 years ago. And through that, we created a Cap TV championship. So seeing something blossom from the ground up that I was a part of since day one, and now to be at the top of that is something I hold very near and dear to my heart. And I don't take for granted. Let's get to 1,000 days. No one will ever beat that.
I wanted to ask about any feedback from your time at AEW, whether it was from a wrestler or Tony Khan or producer or coach or anybody.
Yeah, like, you know, after I've wrestled many people, not many people. I've had a few matches there, but like definitely the people you wrestle, like I'll say like Matt Hardy's one of the biggest ones. Like that was my most recent one. I was in a tag match with him and Isaiah Cassidy, and obviously like wrestling Matt Hardy, you're gonna want to hear what he has to say. And you know, super nice guy. He let me know all these little like details after the stuff, and people there are super respectful and super nice. So I take every little bit of information I can get. So to answer your question, yes, the people I've wrestled, I've definitely gotten like information and feedback from. That's the word I was like, why couldn't I think of feedback? It's still a little early for me. Haven't had my coffee. I may have a lot of energy, but boy, once I have that caffeine, we go crazy. Get that cup of coffee.
This is Bobby off of coffee. So imagine him on coffee.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I mean, I was going to ask, what do you do to hype yourself up before a match? But I think we're already there. We don't have to.
I literally ask anyone. I just say as loud as I can in the locker room. It's crazy. I probably have scared a few people. I've probably broken a few panes of glass. But with my voice, I just like punch a wall. No, just yell. It makes everything so much better.
I want to ask about your theme song, which I believe was done by Max Caster, Platinum Max. This song, immediately it comes on, you hear the goat sounds, and I get hype just off of this song alone. So tell me about
too. Me and you both, my friend.
Oh, I saw you at an AIW event, and I was like, oh man, that thing came on. I was rocking out to it immediately. Tell me about putting this song together with Max.
So Platinum Max Caster, part of the Acclaimed, has done many has made many songs. But I think his what would you call it? Like what do you say when it's like an artist, like their magnum opus? Or like their Mona Lisa? I don't know. I'm trying to sound smart. I'm not that smart. But I think this is biased opinion. I think it's one of his best. But he's like one of the most talented, not just wrestlers. He's the best wrestler alive, but he's probably one of the most talented artists I know. And he created this song. Him and also my Shook Crew tag team partner Bryce Donovan helped write it too. And it was like a collaborative effort. The only part I came up with was the Bobby is the GOATest, Bobby is your mom. This is the Bobby Orlando song. And I gave them that information and I said, do what you will. And they came up with the rest of it. So the beat, the lyrics, the flow, everything, thanks to them. But definitely, I will never, ever change that music unless it's like, they're like, no, we can't. But I want that to be my theme song for the rest of my life. I think we struck gold. It gets me so hype.
Talk to me about Bobby Jr. there. I know there's got to be a backstory of Bobby Jr. Come on. That cute little thing.
He's a cute little thing, you know. So I am the GOATest of all time. No argument there, right? No argument.
Tops, I agree.
100%.
He's the GOAT. And so one day I was like, you know what? I need a little friend in my life to help me, you know, because whenever you go to the ring, you're going in alone. And whether you want to disagree with me or not, but having that little help in your back pocket comes in handy. So why not have someone there to always support me emotionally, and if he has to get a little dirty, physically as well, and go, because like goats are known for their headbutts, so they go right there in the head. I've used him I have thrown him over the top rope, and hopefully he does like a cool backflip or something over the top rope to help me out. But essentially, I just needed something to really get the point across. Now, when I walk through the curtain, you think, wow, this guy's crazy. But it's essentially something that I was just like, you know what? Why not have a stuffed goat? So he's my friend.
Would you also call him your emotional support goat?
No, of course.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
And I mean, but the problem with the GOAT, with Bobby Jr., and not a problem, but it maybe an issue, is people want to harm him, and then that's no good. That's no good. This is why Kevin Blackwood got on my nerves so much.
Hold on. I don't want.
Blackwood got on my nerves.
No. He didn't want to hurt him. He wanted us to protect him. But there have been times where people have gone out of their way to hurt little poor Bobby Jr., who, even though he's about 5 feet away from me right now, he could probably still hear me. So close your ears, Bobby Jr. I think it's mind games. Because what hurts more than seeing something you love get destroyed and there's nothing you could do about it? There's been times where I've been hung up on the ropes. There's been times where I've been held by other people, and they just want to get in my head. And you ever see like movies where it's like, take me instead, where like they're about to take someone's like friend or lover or like brother or something like that? Those are those instances where it's like, no, take me instead. But they don't want you instead. They want Bobby Jr. So I think it's just mind games. And I think they think it's going to be like, oh, we'll get like a cool gif out of this or something like that. Like, let's beat up a goat, a poor defenseless goat. We're trying to avoid that at all costs. I do this new thing now where I'm like, okay, if I know it's going to be a tough challenge, I'll give him to someone maybe in the front row. I'm like, can you please take care of Bobby Jr.? So he's still right there if needed, but he's under the protection and the watch of the fans. So we've kind of figured it out by now.
You can't trust some of these fans. You can't trust some of these fans, Bobby.
It's true. If it's like they're like so some of the places I go to, there's always some fans who are like, they're there at every show, big supporters, everything like that. They come up. I love talking to people at the merch tables. We've made connections at the merch tables. We talk. So I'm like, okay, I can trust you. That's when I give them the goat.
See, Jeremy, this is what I like about Bobby. He's very in tune with keeping the people around him safe. He's understanding of who needs to be, in that inner circle, that precious inner circle. It makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a different crew, Joel. He's part of the Shook crew, not the inner circle.
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
A different
do this in my mind.
Would you do a version of that song in a Tony Bennett style? Because it sounds like you were about to croon the Judas song.
No, I cut myself off because no one wants to hear me sing.
Oh, well, maybe one day we'll get that. But we do see a lot.
Maybe.
We'll see you a lot on Wrestling Open. Talk to me about the experience, because you've been doing a lot of appearances through Wrestling Open.
So remember before when I talked about how I started Cap TV and I was there since day one? Wrestling Open, baby. Before Wrestling Open never existed, Beyond Wrestling did this series called Uncharted Territory. I couldn't talk for a second. Uncharted Territory. But that was a seasonal program. Wrestling Open is sort of exactly almost the same as Uncharted Territory, only it's a weekly thing, not just seasonal, every Thursday forever. So for almost, it's been like 2 years straight of just every Thursday has been an episode of Wrestling Open. And I think we just hit 81 or 82 episodes. I've probably been there for 70 of them, which is a lot of driving, but it's something I love to be a part of. The atmosphere there, the environment. It's at the White Eagle in Worcester, Massachusetts. I've had some of my favorite matches there. And man, it's on IWTV. I'm sure a lot of people listening know of it, but even if you know of it, if you haven't watched it before, I just check it out. Give it one episode, give it one watch. Either go back in the archives, it's all there, or watch tomorrow. I'll be there. But yeah, it's something that's completely different than anything else in independent wrestling. It's like a weekly television series. There's storylines, there's epic matches, there's, everything you could want in a wrestling show and more. And the fans really make it just as much special because, even if you're going just to have a good time, like there's a bar there. There's some people who don't really watch wrestling in general, but they'll go and say like, oh, I just came to like hang out and drink with my friends and now I'm hooked and I want to watch more wrestling. So it's really a gateway for more people to become fans as well. So in that whole shebang I gave you, take what you will and give it a try if you can. I'll just plug my match tomorrow. It's going to be myself and Bryce Donovan versus Culture Inc., a first-time ever tag match. We've wrestled a bunch of tag teams on the indies, so it's getting a little bit harder to have first-time evers. This is a first-time ever, so watch it if you may.
I was going to ask how you found yourself over at Beyond, how you got to there.
So in wrestling, there's most of the time, if there's a certain promotion you really want to be a part of, you're going to show it out and support. So I started going out there just to help show support and help set up the ring because there was a lot of Creative Pro guys like MJF, Chris Statlander. All these guys would be going to Beyond, and I'm like, oh, I want to be there. So I would go with them or I'd drive by myself, mostly uncharted territory. This was back in that like 2018, 2019. And I would help set up the ring. I would help handle the merchandise. I would be security for some stuff. And from there, they were just like, you know what? You've been helping out. Like you've been showing like you care about this company, which I do. And they're like, okay, let's give you a shot. So I got a spotlight match, which was the match filmed before the actual show. And what they used to do is they would have the wrestlers that were going to be on the card later go out with their phones and they would stream it on like Instagram Live or Facebook Live, and they would stream it on their phones. So not only do you have the pressure of the fans and also wanting to do well, you have all of your fellow peers that are on the show later filming you have your first match at Beyond. So you're like, oh crap, the pressure. And from there, I guess I just showed out and I impressed, and I've been there ever since. And it's been one of my favorite places to work. And I owe a lot of credit to Beyond for helping like my career. A lot of opportunities have come from that. So I made the right decision, I guess, going to help out every Thursday.
My last question for you, Bobby, where we are kind of chastised, I guess, for going after scoops here on this show. So I'm going after a pretty big scoop asking you this. What can you tell us about Max Caster and MJF and this relationship that they have? Because I see it on the social media and I feel like you might have some insight to this. So what kind of insight can you give us?
I don't want to give too much, but romance is in the air.
All right. Max is playing hard to get out here. Or not Max, MJF, the other Max.
Yeah, I know what you were
Jacob.
talking about. Oh, no, Caster's not playing hard to get.
No, not at all.
No. Yeah, man. I think there's some sparks there, though. I think there definitely is.
We will see. We'll see if we can get MJF to react.
Hopefully that was enough of a scoop.
Yeah, well, I'll put this in a headline. It'll pop off.
No, do not do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I could have just went zip. No headlines from this show.
We're getting a headline out of the.
Well, you get a headline, but not from that.
Yeah,
not from that.
That was.
Yeah, the theme song. The theme song.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bobby. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Bobby Orlando.
There you go, Bobby. Thank you so much, Joel.
And I'm on TikTok, but like I don't know, I use it sometimes just to make silly little videos at the Bobby Orlando.
Listen, we love synergy. So if you just look up the Bobby Orlando anywhere, you're gonna
make it easy.
There you go. Come and catch Bobby and a plethora of others over at the Creative Pro Beyond Boundaries this Sunday at the Knights of Columbus in Lynbrook, New York.
Now you can't talk.
No, I can't talk. I do it for a living. So here we are. Looking forward to your tag match. You and Dr. Cool are going to take on Birds of the Sun. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us. And
Bobby Jr.
Bobby Jr.
Yes.
Bobby Jr. was there, and we love having you both. Thank you so much for your morning time.
I love being here. Have a great rest of your show and your day.
Thank you, Bobby. You too, man. Have a great day.